Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to Lotus Tarot TV 444. And this is part 4 of the truth about Archons and Reptilians. Now, I know that's a lot of parts, but if you did not watch part 1, 2, and 3, I suggest that you go and watch those in order so you guys can get a full overview of how these entities work, how to defeat them, and now we'll be discussing in this part the antidote. Okay? Now, before we were discussing how they operate, we discussed Lightworkers being under attack and what that looks like. And we've even touched a little bit on spirit jumping and how they not only affect one person, but they have the ability to affect multiple people simultaneously. Now I want to talk about how to work against them. Now, we've touched on the fact that getting baking soda in our diet, putting a teaspoon in water in the morning and night because it alkalizes your system, and changing your toothpaste because, you don't want anything with fluoride in it. So find something with baking soda, because fluoride makes your frequencies and senses sluggish and calcifies your third eye. And the other way to defeat these entities was to say every morning out loud 21 times, back to back, I am awakened and a free whole being. I am free from all internal and external parasitic entities in every shape and form. I am a creative, loving, sovereign being. These entire sentences must be said out loud every day 21 times for at least 2 weeks. And the reason being is that your brain takes 21 times to rewire itself. Okay? We've discussed how words are very powerful. It emits a frequency. And remember, we are in a frequency war currently. You would want to restructure your thoughts to clear and dissolve any or all types of OCD, thought loops, or reprogrammed, influenced, reactive behavior. And there is no cutoff time. Everyone is different. I still use it when I feel a bit uneasy. But I've found that if I'm very affected, let's say ill or stressed out, feeling heavy, feeling extremely lethargic, things like that, aside from slow, deep breathing, I sometimes listen to a very specific clip of didgeridoo music. Now, I hope this has been of some, assistance when it comes to the basic ways that you can defeat these entities. But, as you can see, it takes consistency for at least 21 days. And, we've discussed on this channel as well, when it comes to reprogramming the subconscious and when it comes to creating a new habit, it takes 21 days. So anybody dealing with addictions, anybody dealing with, the energies that I've discussed thus far, in the first 3 parts of this series, I would suggest really looking into not only writing down the sentences I had said earlier, okay, but trying it out for yourself, saying it 21 times and rewiring your brain. Now, there's something else that I want to clarify in this final part, okay? Now, we know that Archons are astral entities that exist only by stealing the energy of sentient beings. And their food source is human trauma and drama and pain and suffering. Now, we already know how the Archons have been created. But just to give you a brief overview, okay, the creation of the Archons, according to the Sophia Pistis, was said to be a mishap or fractal byproduct of Mother Goddess Sophia's debris trail as she jumped and fell from the galactic core in all her passion to create and become Gaia, i.e. Mother Earth. Now, this stealing energy by these archontic astral entities is done by using various forms of control and manipulation, and as stated before, these entities are more cerebral. They know what you're thinking. You don't even have to say it. So the Archons are obviously envious of our human divinity, and they've gone to every length to keep humanity humanity, in the dark with no power. Now, if a being is controlling or manipulating your universal free will in any way or causing harm, threatening harm, they are under the influence of the archontic entities and most likely don't even realize it. The archontic control began the first day the earth was created, as detailed in the ancient Gnostic writings of Sophia about these entities. There's a trace of the archontic control grid still running in the Matrix, but only because unconscious humans are ignorant of the fact that such a thing even exists or is happening. Now, the good news is you have full authority and power to stop feeding the Archon, and it ceases to be when you cut off its food supply. I swear this sounds so much like gray rocking with narcissist and cluster B personality disordered people, and no contact, right? Cut off its food supply. Now, the only way, and, let's just say as a side note as well, to those indulging in alcohol, I understand that, you may do it in moderation and all that good stuff, but if you're dealing with an infection or an infestation of these entities, it's time to at least put in 21 days completely sober. Okay? Now, the only way to stop an Archon is to stop giving it your energy, or simply put, do not give it permission to have authority over you. And we know how, we've discussed on this channel in a lot of the collectives recently that, we give legal right to these entities when we are under the influence or intoxicated, right? Now, the only thing the Archon cannot deal with is a firm, intentional no. When you say no, the universal prime directive kicks in, and a being may not interfere in your soul's journey in any way. This is the way it is. Goodness and being in alignment with the universe creates a protective force field around you that nothing can overcome. If your heart is straight and an Archon is still attacking you, then you are giving it permission in some way. What are some ways that you guys have seen yourself giving these parasites permission to manipulate and control you? Drop it in the comments below. Now, you have to block up all the entry portals by saying no in every way, and be aware of all of your energetic connections. You may say, I have already done all this, and the attack continues. We say, did you say no to the person you could never say no to? Did you look around your immediate space at all the objects that may be the portal we speak of? In many cases, it's an object someone gave you or that you obtained that contains traumatic energy and may even be something very sentimental to you. If you look, you will find this object, and the destruction of it is the saying no you may have overlooked. Now, it's kind of funny because as I'm going over this, idea of saying no and not giving legal right to these entities, it reminds me of the DARE program. Say no to drugs and alcohol. Now, maybe that's where that came from. Now, in other cases, we have seen beings disconnect from other beings and leave residue energy behind for months, even years, by leaving their phone number in their phone. Something as simple as this is a consensual contract or agreement for a being to drain some of your power constantly. It's interesting to note here that some of these beings don't have a clue they are sucking the life out of your body. They just know it feels good when you're feeling trauma or pain of any sort, and do not understand how any of this works behind the scenes. Now, the grandest trick creation of the Archon is called the 3D Matrix. Everything about this control system is anti-sentient life, and the closer you look at it, the more you will be disturbed by what you see. It's also interesting to note that the Matrix definition of an Archon is a magistrate, a judge, or public official such as a policeman or a politician. It also means Lord. I hear Blue Jay, you guys. The Archon can work physically through other beings, but they themselves are 4D astral entities that cannot exist for more than a few minutes in the physical world. The powers that be, as we do not give them our energy, are running the archontic program, and is certainly where the idea of some fearful, evil devil came from. One could call the Archon the demon or the devil that takes over the psyche during both awake and sleep hours. Many of you have most likely experienced a tremendous astral attack in the night or day, so you understand what we are speaking of here. If you are near or connected to a being that drains your power fast or disturbs your energy field in an obviously negative and intense way, you are encountering an Archon. And Blue Jay agrees. These Archons were detected etherically by the Essenes and Gnostics over 2,000 years ago. They were defined as being parasites, i.e. programs running in the DNA of humans. Here's the most shocking and mostly unknown fact, even to many Lightworkers. The prime Archon is named Jehovah. This being is the God of the Old Testament Bible. This being is not God at all, but a poser who has tricked the whole human race for eons. What does it feel like when your energy is being stolen? It is the lowest vibration you can feel. It is because your life literally is leaving your physical body. Do you see how important all of this is? Do you also see how it could be possible to live forever in a human body? An Archon has no creative energy of its own, as we do, and all it can do is steal your energy and create with that. What they create, however, is only some situation of something that will only be of use for further stealing of energy. The Archon uses trickery, ignorance, deception, hate, word magic, and the threat of deadly force, and many other ways to gain one's consent to steal their energy. This is played out every day in one's personal life, as well as all the systems that make up the 3D holographic matrix. As you know, the 3D matrix itself has only one purpose: to drain off 100% of human resources, i.e. human life force. Some other ways an Archon can steal your energy is by holding your attention in a verbal or textual argument, or even a discussion with lots of questions or nonsense. The Art of War, an ancient spiritual manuscript, says, the one who speaks last loses. What is the solution here? Stop the discussion at once. This is the saying no and the cutting of the cords here. When you are no longer in the discussion, notice the pain stops and you start to return shortly after. Another way is called the Archon guilt or blame trip. This one is mostly used in intimate or family relationships where the other being feels inferior and they only feel power, your power, when they are putting you down or making you feel bad for doing something to them that has nothing to do with you. If you tell a being you need your personal space, you are not doing anything to them. So there's no need to feel guilty or accept blame, and furthermore, you have every right to decide who is in your personal space and should exercise this universal right. We say, have no gods before you. You are the highest authority in the universe, so stop being tricked into giving your energy to controlling, manipulating, unhealed beings who are disconnected from the source that they are. There is no asking or begging for a cord to be cut. Just say no and keep all beings who do not resonate with you out of your personal space, out of your reality, and all of the power that is being drained from your being will return. When you have all of your power back, you shall be whole again and can do all things. You are a child of the light and all goodness, but at this time, take inventory of who you are connected to and who they are connected to. The Archon uses what is called chain cords to connect from one being to another, and maybe someone who is close to you right now. When you sweep the house clean, take care to sweep it completely and to look very close at everything so that you are not caught unaware. Archangel Michael is the universal master of cutting unhealthy astral cords. Know that this is not done using some airy-fairy method, but by using attentive diligence and firm intention of not allowing any being to control or manipulate you in any way. Just say no in every way, completely removing them out of your personal space. And when you detect their unhealed, manipulative, distorted energy field, okay? So put space between your reality and theirs so there's no vibrational interference, okay? It is important to note that you must be impeccable in all that you do right now. Your heart depends on it. If they have a tantrum, let them have their tantrum. It's of no concern to you and has nothing to do with you. And at this point, your level of being has fully transcended. Set yourself free.